Okay, looks like we are live. I'm going to go ahead and get started with sharing my screen. Okay, just bear with me. I will get started in just a moment. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the information session for Large Language Models Bootcamp. I am Raja Iqbal. I'm the Chief Data Scientist and one of the instructors at Data Science Dojo. So today what we are going to do is, this is our recurring regular information session on our large language models bootcamp. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the curriculum, the overall logistics, the philosophy, and really answer any questions that any of you may have about the curriculum, the bootcamp, the intended outcome, and so on. So we'll go ahead and get started. We are one of the oldest players in the data science and AI upskilling space. More graduates than many other companies, right? So I'm not counting the online MOOCs, of course, because we are more live, in-person, and interactive training company. So far, we have some self-paced courses coming up, of course, but so far we have had in-person trainings, on-site trainings for enterprise and for our public offerings. And then we also have the instructor-led live format through Zoom, Teams, and other conferencing tools. And we, in that way, probably we are by far the biggest impact compared to any other company on the planet. And we are the only bootcamp as we speak. Of course, more bootcamps are going to mushroom as the demand grows, as people start to learn. Of course, the learning companies, they also have to actually design their curriculum and all of that. So how did we start before any other company? We have been building these solutions internally for other enterprises. So we have a services side of it. We have a product as well that uses large language models. So what we did is during our building during our journey to build the product, during the time when we were building or providing services to our customers, we realized that the common use cases that are there, the Bards of the world, the ChatGPTs and Claudes, Anthropics of the world, and all of that, they are pretty good with conversational scenarios, summarization, content generation scenarios, and all of that. But in reality, when you start to deploy these models and deploy these applications, rather, when you try to use these applications and try to get some business value out of it, it is actually a non-trivial endeavor. It doesn't work that easily as we think it would, right? So when you have to make business decisions using these tools, it actually changes. A lot of things actually change. It becomes somewhat complex scenario. For instance, you have to keep your token usage and costs in check. There are restrictions around the context window. Should you be using a 16K context window? Should you be using a 128K context window? And is bigger context window necessarily better than a smaller context window? And there are regulatory challenges. There are challenges around your proprietary data, and you want to make sure that your data is secure. There are security and privacy and AI governance issues. Then there are some applications that require ultra low latencies. In other cases, you are okay with actually some delay in inference. Then should you use open source or closed source model? There is hallucinations problem. What if your knowledge base is changing? How do you evaluate a model? What if the prompts are brittle, right? So what if you're getting incorrect responses for questions for the same question sometimes, or maybe a very small variation of the question? The answer is substantially different. What do you do in these cases? So there are a lot of these scenarios as these applications, they have not entered mainstream in all possible scenarios, right? So in content generation scenario, yes, they could be mainstream. If I need to write a piece of poetry, a social media post, yeah, all of these, I mean, they are mainstream. But a lot of enterprise scenarios, they are actually not mainstream yet. So all of these challenges, we actually have offerings that cover either each of these challenges separately, or our large language models bootcamp. So we have 3 different types of offerings as we speak. The first one is our intensive 40-hour immersive program. This is an in-person, on-site program. It happens in different cities. The next one is happening in Seattle. And then this is an in-person experience. We take care of everything for you. You come in Monday, 8 a.m. in the morning, all the way to 5 p.m. On Friday evening. So I will go into the detail. Then we have live instructor-led courses on our website. Check them out. These are 4 to 8 hour courses, depending upon what topic it is. We try to keep some cohesive, some unit of learning together. And then think of this as a broken down version of the LLM Bootcamp, broken down into smaller chunks. This is a live interactive learning, different courses that can be combined to somewhat get the same learning out of it. These are actually shorter duration and more affordable courses because you don't have to travel to a different place. And then we also have some self-paced courses, which I'm going to show you. Some of them are actually free, so you can come in and check them out if you like. Anywhere from 1 to 8 hours, I will show you a few of them. So I will focus a lot on the general curriculum. Anything that I show you here, we have it available definitely in the form of either an in-person training. It is any topic that I discuss here. It is definitely there in the Large Language Models Bootcamp, or it is there in our live online offering, instructor-led offering. It is there. And then some of them have already been announced, and some are going to be announced shortly. And we are actually working very hard on getting these out. So regardless of which course you attend with us, one thing is that the curriculum has been designed by practitioners. I spend a few hours every day working with my team that is actively providing services to some of the big companies, and I'm talking about big as in 50, 70, 80 billion plus dollar revenue companies, or market cap companies that are actually that have retained us, hired us, or they are either or using our products that involve LLM applications. So we are actively working with companies, and then we are actually designing curriculums. The curriculum that we design, the curriculum is based on our practical experience. So you will actually the course is going to be taught, these courses are taught by practitioners who spend every day of their life working on large language model applications. So we are not some only training company, right? So hey, here is some slides, let's present them. We actually know what we are talking about, and then we will have interesting stories, sometimes funny stories that how LLM applications are actually, sometimes they can be a pain in the neck. And then we will cover most of the mainstream LLM tools, libraries, and packages. We focus on open source, but for some enterprise offerings, if someone, hey, we want only learn Azure stack, or we want to learn a particular stack, we have done it. But overall, we mainly focus on the open source stack. We are bringing in different components from the open source and teaching those. Lots of hands-on exercises, more than what you can cover in class. Very organized way of the labs, the way they are organized, the way the learning platform, the content, everything. All you need to do is bring in your laptop, a browser-enabled laptop, and everything. We have these browser-based labs, inline code editors, Jupyter notebooks. Everything is in the web browser. And then we have, at the end of the bootcamp, we have this comprehensive project as well with support. And as I said, just bring your laptop, right? So these companies are currently, we have more partners who are going to be joining us. You can see some of these are big names in this space. What we do is, for our bootcamp, you get credit for all the software and cloud services needed. Any tokens that you consume, any GPU cloud, any Jupyter notebooks with code samples, everything, it is covered in your registration fee, right? So, and that's why, I mean, sometimes people would actually ask, hey, the price point, I mean, because we are actually paying all the cloud bills while you learn, and LLMs can get quite expensive. We take care of for the in-person offerings. We take care of all of your, other things, your food, your lunch, breakfast, lunch, and other things. We have some guest speakers who come in, right? So some real case studies from big companies, interesting case studies. Once again, I don't want to name here, right? But I mean, $100+ billion dollar company, real case study of the of an LLM application deployed and what happened afterward. So interesting anecdotes, interesting viewpoints, not necessarily technical, but also from a business standpoint. Then also various engineering and cultural challenges in adoption. We talk about technology is definitely important, but at the end of the day, the more time you spend in industry, the more you realize that technology is a means to an end, right? So while our courses are deeply technical, but we do not actually forget about the fact that business is important. So we also talk about other challenges that may be there when you are adopting large language models. Hands-on exercise for all topics, I think I mentioned that, and build an application at the end of the boot camp, right? So what are the logistics of this bootcamp? So I'm going to actually talk about, first of all, I will go over the curriculum. And before I actually go over the curriculum, I will give this idea of a typical LLM application. When you build an LLM application, what are the different components that are involved in building a large language model application? So if I start from here, you have to have some sort of large language model that is hosted somewhere. Now, you can decide whether you want to use some of the closed source models like OpenAI, or you want to go for some open source models like Llama 2 and so on. We cover both. So we use both OpenAI GPT series, GPT 3.5, 4, and we also cover the Llama 2 series of models. So we cover both of them, so you get a flavor of both. I will explain that in detail shortly. Now, you also have very often when you're building a large language model application, you need to know about vector databases. So we will, I will explain what we do with vector databases. So a vector database has to be there. You need to store embeddings. You need a vector database. And to create embeddings, you need to have an embedding model. And then within this ecosystem, there has to be some sort of, for the lack of a better word, let's call it an orchestration framework, LangChain and Llama Index being the most notable ones. Think of these as tools that actually have created these abstractions around some of the most common tasks and and needs that a software developer would have while building LLM applications. So we cover LangChain in a lot of depth. Like we spend about in our bootcamp, we cover about 6 to 8 hours on just LangChain. We cover it in depth. I will show you our LangChain curriculum as well. And then we also have a self-paced version of the, or rather, instructor-led version of the course, where you are going to you will actually only learn LangChain. It's a day-long course that has already been announced. So we have you have the option of both covering it as part of the bootcamp or just attending it as a day-long instructor-led live course online. What else? Now there's this idea of semantic caching or LLM cache. You need to have an LLM cache in your entire architecture. There is the reason is that sometimes I think just like regular caching in software, you need to have semantic caching in case the same query or a similar query comes in. Instead of going and consuming the LLM or consuming the tokens from LLM again and again, you actually go and refer to the LLM cache. We talk about all of that. We talk about logging and LLM ops and guardrails in quite a bit of detail. They are needed to make sure that your model, whatever you're doing, it is logged properly, it is deployed properly. And then also there are guardrails on the behavior. What goes in, it is guarded, and what comes out of the model, that is also guarded. And then I can keep going. I mean, this should give you an idea. If I told you, we cover pretty much all of everything that you see. We touch upon everything. So by the time you leave the bootcamp, you actually have understood the entire ecosystem, and not just understood the entire ecosystem. You have done hands-on work in every component of this ecosystem. Okay, let me see. There is a comment here. Okay. And if you have any questions, please, if you are joining through one of our live streams on one of the social media channels, please feel free to post your question there, and they will be routed to me. And if you're on the Zoom call, please use the Q&A tab to to ask any questions. Okay. So prerequisites. A lot of times people ask, hey, do I need to have prior knowledge of your traditional classical machine learning? No, you do not need to. Any machine learning that may be needed, we will actually ramp you up on that, but there's no need for knowing machine learning in depth. If you don't have a machine learning background, that's okay. But you do need to have some understanding of how to code in Python. Even if you do not have that background, it depends upon what your intent is. I will show you, right? So I just want to make sure that, I mean, there's not miscommunicating. Even if you don't know Python programming, the way we have structured our labs, you don't have to set up your machines. You don't have to install any packages. You can still run those labs. We have had people who were not programmers, but yet they were able to actually get by very easily, and they actually loved the training because they got the product angle of it, and yet they got the enough technical depth, but they eventually they did not want to continue coding. I will show the labs in a moment to explain what I'm talking about. This is roughly the technology stack. I hope this is updated. We touch upon some of these at different points in the bootcamp. For instance, in vector databases, MongoDB is there, Vectera is there. Vectera is more of they claim to be, RAG in a box, retrieval augmented generation in a box. So you will see actually a lot of interesting variation of things, right? So vector databases, in memory as service vector databases. Then you're also talking about retrieval augmented generation. And then when you build retrieval augmented generation, even though you will be building your own RAG solution, but there are RAG solutions out there like Vectera, and Microsoft has a RAG solution. MongoDB has a vector database, so they also come in and talk about their offering. So it's a very interesting mix of technology and where the puck is going as we proverbially we speak about it, right? So it's more about understanding the lay of the land, understanding the fundamentals. Then you go and build your own solutions, but not just that. You actually see what every company is doing. We will be, as you can see, we have Llama models, and then we also will be dealing with OpenAI models. So there's going to be a mix of all of them. So how do we start? We set up the foundations to begin with. Let me see. Let me actually, so there is... Okay, duration of the course. It depends upon what is the which course you're attending, Shri Prad, which course you're attending. It highly depends on that. But the duration of the course, it could be, if you're attending our in-person training in Seattle or any of the cities. I mean, we have done it in Washington, D.C., and we have done it in Austin and other places. If you're attending in-person training, in-person bootcamp, it is 40 hours. And you cover a lot of those topics. If you're taking one of the online instructor-led courses, they are still live, but you are in the comfort of your home or your office, then the courses could range from anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. You can actually register for multiple courses, but the duration actually varies. We do not have Neo4j in the curriculum at the moment, but we can certainly, discuss, what is your use case. Brian, I'm answering your question. I see more questions here. Do you assist in placements? No, we do not assist in placements, right? So I know you're talking about Scalar. I've been reading about Scalar in the news. So I didn't, but we are not a placement bootcamp, even though people have. I mean, go look up. We have phenomenal success in people are working. We have more than 1,000 people on our website, verified LinkedIn profiles that who can vouch for our training, right? But we do not actually promise any placements, because that's not the business. We are in the business of upskilling. Placements is actually a tricky business. We don't promise that. Okay. Will the sessions be recorded? And yes, the online sessions are going to be recorded. In-person sessions are recorded, but we don't promise that they are going to be uploaded. Yes, you will have. I will show you the learning platform. Could you share the slides? Yes, the course material, the code samples, everything is going to be shared with you through the learning platform. Okay, and. Bernard on LinkedIn, what is the difference between data analytics, data science, and computer science? I am going to pass on this question, Bernard. I'm happy to, since this was asked on LinkedIn, I'm going to, in the interest of time, because this is a bit of, different from the scope of what we are discussing. But happy to, probably answer this on LinkedIn once I finish the session. There is a barrage of questions. So let me actually take the later questions because I have to finish through the presentation, because I have 9 more questions. So I won't be able to finish the presentation if I kept answering the question. So we cover all the fundamentals for you, transformer and encoder decoder architecture, right? Embeddings and how, what is the purpose of embeddings and how do they help? And, all of that. We cover all of the foundational stuff. We will talk about not just the embeddings, but the historical evolution of embeddings. And then how do you end up saving these embeddings in a vector database? We talk about all the indexing techniques. Not only talk about it, we will actually have labs around each of these just to show you how does it work in real life. So there is going to be coding exercises. You can see that there are hands-on exercises on creating a vector store, indexing it using various techniques, product quantization, HNSW, and so on. You will be building your own semantic search engine once you've understood the vector databases. Prompt engineering. Prompt engineering, not just for building LLM applications. I consider this to be a skill like Google now, right? So you have to be a good, solid prompt engineer. I will show you the labs in a bit. What do the labs look like? But prompt engineering is going to be there. We will actually be showing you what are the best practices of prompt engineering. LangChain. If you're building an application, a RAG application, if you want to connect to different sources, your data is in Dropbox or SharePoint, or your data is in, you're fetching something from Twitter, or you have data in a PDF or a Word document or an Excel. How do you manipulate that data? I mean, do you write your custom code, or what do you do? How do you actually implement chains? How do you actually implement memory? How do you load and transform data and index it? How do you chunk your data? How do you, what kind of different document loaders are there? How do you split your text? There is a lot of things that you need to know when you are building a large language model application. We spend about 6 to 8 hours on just LangChain. Then there is, you will be building some autonomous agents. Once again, actual agents. I believe if I remember correctly, right? So, if you ask a question, you have, you will implement an agent, whether it can go to Google or DuckDuckGo, or can go to Wikipedia or any other website. So these kind of agents, right? So you can create a pandas agent, different types of agents for different purposes. So we do all of this during the bootcamp. Then there is this whole idea around, once you have built your RAG application, how do you ensure that the model is, how do you detect any bias, any toxicity in the inputs, in the outputs? How do you protect your data? How do you enforce what we call the, data and AI governance? A lot of things we actually talk about, the deployment and operationalization aspects of it and monitoring aspects of it in depth. We get inside the model fine-tuning and evaluation in a lot of depth. In class, we'll explain to you, why fine-tuning, and when is fine-tuning better than RAG, or the other way around. What is quantization? What is low-rank adaptation? What is quantized and low-rank adapted models? And we will, once we have understood all of this, we are going to actually build a fine-tuned model in class using a 4-bit quantized 7 billion parameter Llama 2 model. Then there is your course work that will involve building an enterprise-grade application. We will be building a RAG application at the end. Here is our line of speakers. And you can see that these people, they are known in industry for what they do, working for big companies. And all of these people, so you can see me here as well, right? So all of these people, we are involved in our day-to-day. We are actually involved in building large language model applications. So if you see someone coming in and talking about it, they are not just presenting the topic, they actually live and breathe that topic on a daily basis. They have seen all the challenges, the technical or business challenges in that situation. So it is actually a very interesting experience. And one of the great feedbacks that we receive about the bootcamp is the fact that we have so much diverse experience, so many diverse perspectives from industry. People actually love it due to that fact. And this is our partners. This is some of the partners, and our partners, of course, they like us and they continue to partner with us in our bootcamp. And then we have had customers from, I don't think we have kept up to date with these logos, but you can see that many of these big companies, they have been sending people to us for getting trained. So, and there are more names that we may not have updated. but we have a lot of people coming from top companies globally. Um, let me actually see here. I am going to move on to the learning tools. So this, when you register for the large language models bootcamp, you get access to a learning platform. This particular course, and if you can see that we have a plan for you even before you come to the training, and then during the training, you do not have to have everything set up on your computer, right? So while it's great, I mean, if you are a seasoned developer, it is fine. It is fine if you want to set things up locally. But what we have done for you here is that we are going to give you access to these sandboxes. Let's say this is our vector database sandbox. When I click on this, you can see that once I clicked on it, the code actually popped up on my screen here. And you can see that all I have to do is I'm going to run, and run. And this is what I was referring to, right? So if you are a seasoned developer, you can make changes to the code. And then just to give you an idea, let me move a few things out of the way. So just to give you an idea, right? So everyone gets their own dedicated space in the cloud, in our Jupyter notebook, this is our basically our Kubernetes cluster running in. We have everyone gets their own dedicated compute and dedicated storage. And now, if you run this and you come back, this is retained for you, and you get access to this whole infrastructure for 1 year once you register. So this is our we have similar sandboxes for prompt engineering. We have for fine tuning in partnership with RunPod, we give you a GPU cluster, and then when you're fine tuning the Llama 2 model, you're going to actually get a free credit for running that fine tuning exercises in the RunPod cloud. Then we have, let me show you our LangChain. I think LangChain is here. So if you look at this, let me unshare my screen because I have to get my API key ready. Don't want to flash that on the screen. Just please bear with me. Yes, I am going to actually move it to the other screen. Okay. Okay, here. So I will go back to share the screen. So if you notice this here, so this is our LangChain course. If you look at this, in LangChain, we are covering all of the modules in depth here. And I cannot even go through all of them, but let me give you this example, right? For instance, right, if I go to, let's say, we talk about chains and why chains are important, but once we have covered that idea, I will go and talk about simple sequential chains. And then when I click on this, this notebook pops up. And now you are going to run this. And now it is asking for me for an OpenAI API key. And I'm going to give you this OpenAI API key right here. I'm going to enter this, and all of you will be getting it as part of the training, part of your registration. And I'm going to actually run this. And this is, you can see that we are showing you how to run a simple chain in LangChain. And then you can see that this is executing the code. And then what this chain is doing is your first, getting so the user enters a location, and then it first recommends a classic dish. It comes up with a classic dish from the area the user has suggested. And then as a follow-up chain, it goes and actually recommends a meal or what is a popular, what is the recipe for that dish that was recommended. And we have more exercises. Can you add more chains to it? Can you follow up? Can you add an agent to this and all of that? So we have tons of these exercises, right? So more than I can, even talk about during this training. You can see that we have during the session, actually, you can see memory with chain, memory. You're talking about retrieval, right? So you're talking about, CSV, JSON, etc. So we, of course, I mean, this is a lot of material. We cannot cover everything during the class. But what we do here is we enable you. We give you an overview. We enable you, and then we actually ask you to just be on your own. We give you from each of these. We'll give you the basic. We'll give you the basic framework on how to do these, implement all of these. We cover, I think in LangChain, we cover I believe 20 to 25 of these small notebooks in a day. And then after that, you understand the basic idea, and then you're on your own, because it's a lot of problem solving that there's a lot of problem solving that you have to do on your own. Then we have, I would like to actually show you some of the interesting other interesting things. This is our prompt engineering sandbox. If you look at this, right? So one of the challenge that you have with prompt engineering courses at the moment is, well, the prompt engineering courses are just a bunch of text. Hey, do this and do that. But how do I practice? So for that, we have created these sandboxes for prompt engineering. If you look at this, I have this exercise, and I'm not just saying, hey, just this is how you do it. I'm also showing you when you do it, this is what it looks like. So you can see that not only that we are telling you how to do it, I think the prompt here was, this is, okay, generate a table for this information, right? So, and now you can see that we are actually showing you not just, it's not just talk, it's all hands-on. We are known for the last 9+ years, right? We are known to be the most hands-on training, the most intensive training in our space. And you can actually go and modify this. You can see, I mean, you can play around with the parameters, and you can actually, just modify the prompt in any way that you would like, right? So containing table, containing information, give results in thousands of dollars. I mean, I'm just making it up. This is not a canned demo. Okay, so, and then it will, you can see that now it is giving me a different answer. So I can actually understand the limitations. I can understand how these things work, as opposed to simply just, just reading through it and having no idea what did I just learn here. Okay. What else is there? Let me go back to my slide deck and see what do we have further. Our next bootcamp actually is, I think the dates here are not correct. So let me go here. Our next bootcamp is happening, the in-person bootcamp is happening in Seattle. And that is happening from April 22nd to 26th. We have some online courses, instructor-led courses that are there too. We have this course that our first and foremost course. There are other courses. This is a course called Large Language Models for Everyone. If you don't find yourself to be ready for the entire bootcamp, or if you cannot travel all the way to Seattle, this is a good starting point. Does not matter whether you are a IT consultant, you're a software developer, you are a people's manager, you're a product manager, you're a medical doctor, does not matter, right? So this is a very general, high-level overview of what this whole large language models, this whole buzz is about. And then you can see we'll explain at a very high level in this show. This is a half a day to quarter a day, 3/4 of a day course. We will talk about fundamentals. We'll explain text encodings and embeddings, vector databases, how does generative AI work, prompt engineering, RAG, and fine-tuning, what is the difference? How do you implement all of these things in a safe manner, risks and challenges? And you can see who are the instructors and what are people doing, suggesting. And this particular course, it's fairly affordable. We launched it just now. Go ahead and register for the course if you think that this is something that you need to learn. This course is for people who just want to understand LLMs, regardless of the they are not coders, they are not mathematicians, so they don't have a solid math background. They just want to understand, hey, what is all of this about? You can be any background, does not matter. And this is actually one of the popular, enterprise setting. This is a very popular course that we have offered for many different companies. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take more questions here. I'm going to actually answer more questions. Let me stop sharing my screen. Zoom sometimes can be actually challenging. I'm trying to look for okay, I found it. So let me bring it on the main screen here. And now I can start reading up all the questions. Okay, where were we? Will there be any exams, or the bootcamp is more project-based? The bootcamp is project-based. We believe in everyone taking ownership of their learning. We are all grown-up adults, and I think the way we have structured the training, I've not seen anyone not learning. So I think exams are just there to ensure that you have learned something, but we make it very interactive. We make it very we know what we are doing. Let me put it this way, right? So in exams, the project is actually, think of that as an exam. How many end-to-end projects will be covered, right? So we'll cover only one, but because end-to-end means end-to-end, right? So in 5 days, how many end-to-end projects can you do? So so you will have multiple exercises in prompt engineering, vector databases, embeddings, guardrails, logging, and everything individually. But on the last day, you will be actually implementing, in the bootcamp, you will be implementing the entire project. And then there is this question around any bootcamps coming up in NYC. Yes, we are planning to come to NYC, but nothing on the roadmap so it is on the roadmap, but the dates are not finalized because of the sheer amount of effort that it takes to organize the bootcamp in a different city. But it should happen very soon. How many people have participated in the bootcamp, right? So if you look at our data science bootcamp, we have 7,000 or 8,000 people in our. I'm talking about in person. I'm not talking about online. In person, 7,000 to 8,000 people. But when you talk about the large language models bootcamp, we are actually approaching 100 because we just launched it 2 or 3 months ago. Any boot camps coming up in NYC? I think I have answered that already. What else? Can I access your PPT after the class? I think the team is going to share a link where you can request the PowerPoint, and then it will be shared with you for sure. Okay, and Mahnur has a question. Will the material be still available after the boot camp? Yes, the material is going to be available after the bootcamp. Everyone who registered for the bootcamp, they have 1 year access to the learning platform after the bootcamp. Would you continue to help participants after the bootcamp as well? If yes, for how long? It depends what type of help you're looking for. If you're talking about, getting on a call and helping, unfortunately, we cannot, right? Imagine, right? So charging someone $3,000 and then be on call for 1 year, that's not going to be possible, right? But we do help, right? So, hey, I need this resource. Yes, and I need, do you have any other resource for this? Yes, that kind of help we try to, but that kind of face-to-face help, that actually ends on the last day of the bootcamp. And we decide on a case-by-case basis, but I just want to be clear, it is not financially or, from a business standpoint, it is not sustainable for us. Is the full LLM full bootcamp going to be offered online, or just some of the courses and material? Yes. I mean, unfortunately, this is an anonymous attendee. I would have asked you. The problem is, would you be able to sit through 5 days of training? I love teaching. I can actually teach for 5 straight days online. Not a problem at all. But would you be able to actually sit through 5 days of training? Because it is intense. So it is not something, it is non-trivial. It's a lot of effort, and hence we see a lot of success, right? People go back and then they hit the ground running. They start implementing, building solutions. But online, the entire boot camp, just drop us a note. If we have enough people, we would love to, but I don't think that most people would be interested in attending a 5-day, 8 hours a day online boot camp. But if you can bring us like 15 to 20 people, we certainly can offer it, right? So if you think it's a deal, just let me know. What about Portland, Oregon? Portland, Oregon has never been a place. If you are an enterprise, if you're requesting an enterprise training, we can definitely do it in Portland, Oregon. But Portland is actually not on the roadmap at the moment. The nearest location would be Seattle. Okay, are there any other questions from anyone? Okay, so what I would encourage all of you to do is, take a look at our website, check out our, we have a stellar reputation with customers for many years. We have one of the highest and best rated bootcamp in industry, in the data science space. And then in LLM space, we are the only bootcamp, right? So that's so we have to be the best. But but we know what we are doing, right? So the infrastructure that you see, the tools that we have built, the trainers, everything, it is top notch. So please reach out to us if there is anything. If you want to get on a call, if you want to talk, depending upon what time it is, I'm happy to get on a call and talk to you and explain or answer any questions that you may have. And if there are no other questions, I think that should be it. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you in one of our courses.